Hi, I'm back. I just wanted you to be able to see the bowl. So you're basically be seeing me from the hips down and the bowl, but we did want to make sure that you could see the full recipe. And this is the continuation of the bread pudding recipe. If you missed the first part, go on back and catch it, and you'll have everything there as far as what you need. All right, we're going to be using again the 1 loaf of bread. I've already crumbled up most of the bread here. The way that you do it, do not use a grater. I've tried everything. Grater doesn't work. Food processors doesn't really work with the fresh bread because it mashes it together instead of making it into crumbs. So you're just going to have to take your time, grab your kids, sit around, watch a good movie, and just break up your bread. For a full, large loaf of bread, it's going to take you about anywhere from half an hour to 45 minutes to actually break it up properly. You don't want big clumps. You want it to be nice and finely grated or torn up here. You don't want big clumps and big chunks. And the reason why is because if you have big chunks, then you're also going to have big chunks in your bread pudding. And you want your bread pudding to be fairly smooth. You're going to have a few hunks here and there. But the only hunks you really want to be able to have are maybe your fruit that's in it. So if you find out that it's way too lumpy, you probably have not taken the time to actually break up your bread the way that you need to. Now again, the fresher the bread, the harder it's going to be to crumble. That's probably one of the reasons that they use the day-old bread. It's easier to crumble up. The other bread does tend to stick together a little bit because of the gluten and everything in it and the moisture from the fresh bread. But it tastes about the same. It's really not that you have to use the other one. Again, that was just something, the older bread was something that was used at a time when people were saving money and wanting to use all of the food that they possibly could use. Okay. So we've got the bread all broken up there, and as you can see, I've got a pretty good sized bowl. We're going to be almost filling this bowl up with things, so make sure you have a really large mixing bowl. It can be glass or plastic, really doesn't matter. We're going to be mixing everything by hand. It is not going to be done with an electric mixer. So make sure you have a large spoon available as well. First thing you want to do is to take your 6 eggs and break them up. If you don't know how to break eggs, just be real careful. I usually do them on the edge of the bowl. It's a little bit more sanitary anyway. Okay, you want to use the entire egg. Let me just get a container to put my eggs in after I break them. So that's 1, 2, 3. I got a shell in there. I was going to be trying to be Betty Crocker here and got a shell in there. Make sure if you do get shells in to get them out. You really shouldn't have a crunchy banana pudding. This is 4. 5, lots of eggs, very rich recipe, and 6 eggs. Wonderful. Okay, then you want 2 cups of sugar. I didn't get my sugar ahead of time. So we want 2 cups of granulated white sugar. Now if you can get some brown sugar, certainly not the brown sugar you cook with, but the cane sugar from the store, and you're trying to go organic and you want to use that instead of processed white sugar, certainly do that. It's a little bit more difficult to come across in some places, but if you can do it, certainly do that. Again, this is a non-low-calorie recipe, so there's going to be lots and lots of sugar in this, but it tastes delicious. So, 2 cups of sugar, and just pour that in. As you can see, this is a fairly easy recipe. Everything just kind of goes in at the same time. Then you want your 3 sticks of butter. Now make sure you have melted your butter. You're not using a mixer, so therefore the butter does need to be melted so it can go throughout the recipe evenly. Okay. And let's see what we got so far. Can't tilt it too much, but you've got a pretty good little mixture going on there. You've got your sugar, you've got your butter, you've got your eggs so far, and you've got your regular, well, you don't have your regular milk yet. We're going to actually put in your canned milk. Okay, that again is your 12-ounce canned milk. The evaporated milk is what we're talking about. Okay, you don't want to use the sweetened condensed. Do not use that unless you're going to cut out all your other sugar. Sweetened condensed milk is basically pure sugar. Okay, then you want to add to that your regular milk, and again that's 6 ounces of regular milk or 2/3 cup of milk. My bowl is getting pretty full here, so again, make sure you have a very large mixing bowl. All right. Then to that, you want to add all of your extracts. Again, normally it would be a capful. So, since I have my vanilla extract and I have, or my lemon extract, and I have a cap. I'm going to go ahead and put that in first. 1 capful of lemon extract. Yum. Very good. 1 capful, or 1/2 teaspoon of rum extract. Oh boy, I can smell that. I'm not a drinker and I don't like alcohol, but that really does give it a good taste. And then pure vanilla, 1/2 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. This has a ton of flavor in it. It is absolutely delicious. I don't think this was a secret recipe, but if it was, the secret's out now. I don't know, my dad, I don't think he'll care. And then you do want to go ahead before we put the fruit in to add your cinnamon. So we are going to want 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. 1 full teaspoon of cinnamon. Now, usually you wouldn't use that much that much cinnamon, but this is a huge recipe. And let me actually dump this over, not over there in where the bowl is. Just measure it out because cinnamon tends to go all over the place. All right, yummy. That's going to be absolutely delicious. And then the final step, we've drained just a little bit. Actually, let me drain a little bit more of this off of the syrup because we've got enough sugars in there. And again, you may have the fruit juices instead of the syrup. You might want to just cut up your own fruits. You probably use apples. You probably use anything you want to in this recipe. Make it absolutely delicious. Okay. So put the full can in there. And again, if you're going to be using raisins, you want to use about a cup of raisin, cup and a quarter of raisins. That's about a 15.5 ounce can. Okay? Real simple. Just mix it all together. And once you mix that up, we're going to pour it in a bowl. I'll see you back here in just a second and show you just what we're going to do as far as setting the oven and everything. The oven actually can be set at 350 or between 350 and 375. Of course, different ovens are going to vary as far as how they're going to cook. But just mix that up. Do not use a hand mixer. Mix it by hand, meaning don't use an electric mixer. Use a spoon. It's not going to look real appetizing just yet. It's not going to look like it's going to hold together, but you've got 6 eggs in there, which is definitely going to help it. You've got the bread, which is going to help it. All of those are things that you would normally use in other recipes, the eggs and the bread, to hold things together. So naturally, it's going to hold together because that's almost all you got in here. Okay? So let me just kind of show you how that's going to look. It's going to look kind of like mush. Okay? Can you see that? A little bit hard to see. But we will show you again once it gets in the pan. Let me go ahead right now and put it in the pan for you. And you'll see just where we are standing with that. And as soon as you're done with that, put it in the oven. So I'm going to be sticking this in the oven in just a moment. As you can see, it just kind of pours out evenly. And by the way, I've got about a 13.5 by 9-inch pan here. This really doesn't raise, so you don't have to worry about it being too high in the pan. So just pour it all in there. And when you're done with that, you want to stick it in your oven at about, again, between 375 and 350. So we'll be back in just a bit with the conclusion on how that looks.